Welcome to our webinar series. It's good to have new people all the time. Okay, we have somebody from Hong Kong connecting, discovering us on Google. Now this is super funny. Peter connecting from Denmark. Hi there, Peter. Thank you for joining us today. This is super interesting. Connecting from China, from Google. Nice. Brian connecting from Denmark, connecting from Spain. We have Jens. Okay, so guys, it's almost 1 minute after the hour, so we will start because today is going to be super fun. We're going to look at the core concepts, but we're also going to do some practical exercises along the way. So with that being said, I know that a lot of people are still connecting, but they might need to check the recording for the first few minutes. We are going to start because I do want to be very respectful of your time. Now, why are we today in this session? What's the main reason we've joined this webinar? Well, when it comes to the nightmares or the concerns, let's just call them the concerns that IT professionals have, one of them, which is almost sometimes the biggest one, is admin rights, right? Whenever admin rights come into the discussion, it can actually turn a very, very well organized ship upside down in a matter of minutes or not even seconds sometimes. So before we go into admin rights, let's just go back a step, right? We have the IT professional over here. Let me put a laser pointer so that we can have some fun. We have the IT professional over here, and here we have some of the nightmares that are haunting the IT professional. But what is the core component here? It's not actually just IT or security, it's actually the business itself, right? So any organization has some purposes. One of the main purposes of any organization is growth, right? So we want to grow, that's our main purpose. However, a lot of things can actually happen and make things take a wrong turn for us. So this growth could actually, at the point where we are very, very good, very, very stable, consolidated, can actually take a very, very steep turn, and the growth can go in a negative way. And if you observe the segment here, it can actually take us way lower than we initially were. So since I am not a business consultant, I cannot tell you about all the possible reasons that the business can go sideways, because of course we all know them, but my expertise is in cybersecurity. So I can tell you that cyber attacks are one of the items that can take your business from a very, very stable organism to something that immediately goes sideways and you lose everything. I don't want to give names, but we saw the recent fuss on the news, right? There was a company that was hacked, a huge company, over 15,000 employees or 10,000 employees. And from that hack, almost 100 other companies have reported data breaches because they were working with that company, right? And this was recently in the news, right? So in case anybody wants to know the exact company or more details, just let me know in private or on LinkedIn and we can discuss some more. So basically, this is what I'm saying. Just one cyber attack can take your organization from 10,000, 15,000 employees, a very prosperous organism, and make it so that you literally don't know what way you should run. And this can happen just due to a misconfiguration or a loophole that you did not see. Now, in today's session, we will be discussing about one simple thing that we can do to eliminate the risk of 90% of the risk of these cyber attacks, 90% in one go, right? And this discussion is exactly the admin rights. So moving forward, now that you know why you're here in this webinar, why we'll sit together for about an hour and discuss, let's actually see what's our agenda right now. And also what are some base rules, some housekeeping. And we have Torben saying, I have no question, just a note that I'm sorry I'm late. No worries, Torben, you can get the beginning of the recording. We're sorry we started without you, but of course there are a lot of people in the room, so I couldn't keep everybody holding. Okay, guys, so let's see the agenda for today. We are going to discuss about the dangers of admin rights, including I will demonstrate live what can you do, what is the extent at which you can go if you have admin rights. We will also look at what are the challenges that we need to overcome. Why do we need actually admin rights in a business? We will look at a way of giving your business admin rights without the inherent risk, best practices for admin rights, and of course, a session will not be a session if there's no Q&A at the end of it. Also, some housekeeping. Questions are more than welcomed along the way. I read them from the chat. Everybody feels engaged, so please do not wait until the end of the session. The most active participants within the session can actually win a Heimdal Home Premium license. These are 3 core products for your home computer: DNS filtering, patch management, and next-gen antivirus for your home computer for 1 year, 1 PC. We will play cyber trivia, but we will spice it up a bit today. I have a different game for you guys. Now, post-webinar feedback form, this is super important for me. And there's also, this is the method where you can connect with me for a 15-minute meeting, or when you can actually request a demo and so on and so forth. So this is very important. And moreover, this helps me understand what you want to see in these sessions. So please let me know in the feedback form. Tell me, what did you like? What maybe you would prefer differently? Would you like the sessions longer, shorter, right? So just, you have all the places there to give me your feedback. Now, we will not have an extended session this time. Boo-hoo, I know. But I'm gonna do a short demo for you guys nevertheless. And LinkedIn connections, chats, emails are more than welcomed. Please feel free to reach out to me, leverage my knowledge that I have in the industry, because yeah, it's people and people. It's not businesses and businesses, it's all between people. So we actually keep that in mind, and we are open to discuss any topics regarding cybersecurity, cyber threats, landscape, and so on. And we have somebody saying in the chat, whoa, I want that license. You will have a big chance of winning it, I can promise. Okay, guys, so moving back to the session itself. Since we have a lot of people that are new here and that do not know me or us, right? We need to say, who's the company, right, that's hosting and sponsoring this event, and who am I? So the company is called Heimdal. Heimdal is a Danish cybersecurity vendor that's well established in Europe. We offer a wide, actually even the widest range of cybersecurity products that you can control from one management console, and they work from one agent on your computer. Moreover, we have recently released our Threat Hunting and Action Center, which is the EDR combined with XDR with SIM and SOAR. It's basically a unique product actually, because it has components out of each of those, but it binds them together in a very, very different way compared to the market. Now, we are servicing over 11,000 customers, and I actually think I should update this metric. I think we're above the next milestone, but just to be safe, I'll just say 11,000 customers, business to business globally. Now that you know who's the company, who am I, and what makes me, what validates me to be your speaker today, right? So my name is Andrei. I've been with Heimdal for over almost 5 years, actually. The 5-year marker is getting close, and I've been leading more than 5,000 cybersecurity meetings in this time. Yeah, you can say I am a workaholic, and I am, but I enjoy what I do, right? So that validates me and qualifies me to be your expert today. And please feel free, you have my LinkedIn, you have my email on the page. Just take a screenshot, have them nearby, connect with me, and talk some more if you ever need to. So moving to the topic, because we do not want to keep you guys too much. Now, before we go into the topic, we usually put some baselines, we explain what this is and so on. Today, we're gonna do it differently. Today, we're actually going directly into a live hacking exercise together. So I hope you guys like the refreshing change, but if you guys do or do not, please let me know so that I know how to change the sessions for you. So my screen should have changed to a computer, a remote computer. And I believe I can see that, but if you guys don't see it, just let me know. Okay, so on this particular remote computer, let's say I have gotten my hands on local admin rights. What do I do next? Because just local admin rights for me are not enough, right? I want, if I am a cyber attacker, right, cyber criminal, I want to launch a large scale attack on your environment, not just a small one computer encrypted or anything like that, because that doesn't help me in making you pay me money or me selling this access further online, right? We're going to talk about that in a few moments. So I'm on this computer, right? The next step, and I'll stop my camera so that you guys can see the computer full screen, right? So that we can have a nice experience over here. So I am on this computer right now, and if I am on this computer, I want to start making some noise on the computer so that I can deploy an attack. So I have local admin rights on your computer. I will open command prompt on this computer. Of course, I have the credentials here for the local admin. Now, with this little box, administrator command prompt, there's so much that you can do. We could even spend 5 hours of just doing demonstrations of what somebody could do by having this. But we don't have 5 hours, and we don't block 5 hours of your time. So what we will do, we will just do this. I'll show you a simple example of what an attacker does in the moment that they get the local admin rights. They try to get some more items out of this. So what I'll do is I will extract what is called a memory dump, an LSASS memory dump. What is this? Basically, the LSASS is a security service. It's actually not a security service. It's the security service that stores a lot of valuable information that an attacker could leverage them against you. So what I'm doing is I'm extracting a memory dump from this security service in Windows. And when I do this, in this moment, I have a dump completed. I have 80 megabytes of data written in 0.5 seconds. And in these 80 megabytes, I have passwords in hashed form of all the users that ever logged in on this machine and that are still stored in the memory of the computer. Now, what do I do next? I'll just open this file, and the attacker can even do it outside of your computer. They can exfiltrate the information. So I'll take this particular dump file. I'll move to it in a second. Okay, this is the file that I'm looking for, right? I'll take this file out of here, and then I'll put it in another program that can interpret the file, right? Which is called Mimikatz. You'll find a lot of tutorials on the web, and that's actually a problem because in today's world, it's so easy to hack because at the end of the day, hacking is advertised everywhere. So I am now in Mimikatz, which is a known credential harvesting program. Now, what I will do is have Mimikatz open that security dump. Okay, now I am in the dump file. My next step, and guys, please follow along and see how easy it is for me to do this, right? It's not rocket science. In this moment, guys, what you're seeing here on the screen are all the authentications that have been performed on this computer and were still stored in this particular folder file, right? So if the memory would have been wiped, the random access memory, the RAM memory, this would have not been stored. But the problem is we don't shut down our computers. And this is stored in the memory. We have over 90 logins over here. And the first one that shows is actually an administrator login. So what do I do now? I have two options as an attacker right now. My first option is to try to crack the hash. And these are tools out there which have a lot of so-called rainbow tables. A rainbow table is basically hashes stored and their counterparts in real characters from your keyboard. So if you have a complex password, 10 characters, uppercase, lowercase, number, symbol, I will take about maximum 8 hours if I have enough computing power to crack this password, right? Now, do I actually need to crack the password? I do see some very savvy professionals in the audience. Professionals, this is a question for you all. Do I actually need to go to the extent and effort to crack this hash and to have the real password? Just put a yes or no in the chat for me, please. Yen is saying, no, you do not. Anybody else? What are your opinions on this? Anthony is coming and saying, no. Matt, nope. Jens, no. And all of these guys that just responded are totally right. There is a phenomena called pass the hash. What does that mean? You know how your browser has cookies, right? It knows your preferences so that the speed of processing is faster so that your experience is better, right? There's also a thing in the operating system, the Windows operating system, which we all love, we cannot be without, but it is the most vulnerable out of all the systems out there. And that technique is called pass the hash. What does that mean? So Windows will not need your password for the second login attempt. If it already seen your password once, you can just give it the NTLM hash. So just with this, in this moment, I have the user, I have the domain, and I have the NTLM hash. In this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I can literally use your administrator password. What if this particular administrator is the administrator of the entire domain and I have 10,000 computers? Guess what happens then? This particular login that I have just obtained will allow me to deploy malware in all your 10,000 computers. Of course, I will not deploy malware at the beginning. I will do a lot of other actions prior to that so that I can ensure, and again, guys, I'm talking hypothetically, I am not a hacker, nor will I ever be. I'm actually on the good guys side. But basically, if I was a cyber attacker right now, I would make sure that my attack delivers the maximum blow possible. So that's why we will do some actions that I will show you in the next slides and see exactly why do they delay putting the ransomware on your computer. Now, let's actually move back to the presentation. But before we move back to the presentation, I actually want to show you guys a video that has been recently going on the web, right? There is a big fuss on the dark web and it's already kind of public, right? It's also on the normal web with this particular video. And I do hope the streaming works fine. I am also monitoring my screen in the widget. Please let me know if the streaming doesn't go. There's no audio on it. We're just looking at the video together and I will explain what's happening over here. So this Terminator is a new malware that has been recently put for auction on the dark web. The purpose of this Terminator is to terminate your security system, right? So in this example, and guys, this is not us bashing CrowdStrike. This can terminate 99% of the EDRs and security systems out there. This is just an example video, right? So in this case, this is CrowdStrike, a well-known security platform. They're actually a leader in the industry, right? So let's look together and see what this particular piece of malware can do. So this guy is right now showing you all the tasks that are active in the computer and that start with the name CS Falcon, right? This is the name of the CrowdStrike tasks that are running, right? Processes, services that are running, right? And these are the 3 services that are currently running in the computer, right? Now let's see what this guy shows next in the proof of concept video. He's opening the Terminator malware, and here's what happens. And guys, I want you to pay attention what's happening now in between him opening and the effect. This is the very important step that I want you guys to acknowledge, right? And now the services have disappeared. And guys, believe me, CrowdStrike is actually a very good product. They have a lot of fail-safes in place to ensure that this does not happen. This guy is searching for all the items pertaining to CrowdStrike, and none of them appear right now on the screen, right? So could you guys please help me identify what is exactly that happened in between him opening the malware and the services stopping? This is a very, very important step that was in between. And I really want help from you guys to know exactly if you caught what he did in between. Come on, let's see that chat firing up. I'll get some water in the process, and let me turn back my camera. Okay, nobody? Nobody caught what the guy did in between the services being and not being anymore? Is my chat frozen? Can you guys hear me? Just a small check. I would like a yes or no if you can hear me. Matt came with the response. They have elevated to administrator. So guys, even if this malware is up for sale, it's right now on discount 50%. It's just costing $1,500. Even if this is right now for sale, without admin rights, it cannot process what it is doing. And if anybody wants to geek out with me and have a session and just talk about how this Terminator malware is working, just let me know. We can book some time, but I don't want to keep the entire audience, right, talking about this right now. So if you guys want to deep dive into the Terminator malware that is currently making the biggest buzz, one of the biggest buzz on the dark web and on the regular web, just let me know. So guys, the idea was that without admin rights, that particular termination could not be possible. That's the important thing. So that's why we're talking about admin rights today. These are all the whys that I wanted you to know so that we can continue our session. Now, continuing our session, let's again be a bit different from our regular sessions, and now let's move to what can an attacker do when they get compromised admin credentials. The first thing that they usually do is alter registry entries. What does that mean? Basically, your computers are managed by things called GPOs, or group policy objects, right? The IT works a lot to put those objects in place, and that basically controls your wallpaper, controls what access you have in Windows, what access you need admin in Windows, and a lot of other things. So me as an attacker, I will modify this first, right? Second step, I will do installations of any supportive tools that I need so that I can further my attack. Third step, I will disable your defenses. And we saw the example earlier, guys, with the Terminator. That's a disabling of defenses. And this is also written in MITRE attack framework. You can find all the tactics that are being used to do this disabling. Fourth step, I will laterally move. What does that mean? I will go and scan your network and see what are other objects, assets that I can compromise before I launch my full attack. Then I will change configurations in your computer. So I will have my malware run as a shell in your computer, auto start each time, and so on and so forth. I will delete my traces so that you cannot find me. You cannot pinpoint the police to who actually attacked you. Then I will use powerful system tools like the ones you've seen earlier, sys internal tools, like the one in which I harvested the credentials, and so on and so forth, right? And last but not least, and guys, this is the most dangerous one, and I'll actually tell you guys what you can do with this one. This is called impersonate the NT system authority user. What does this mean? In simple words, I can do anything I want in this moment. This is the highest authority. It doesn't matter if you're a domain admin, local admin, the system NT authority system user is the highest authority in the Windows computers. So in this moment, I can do anything. no matter what security stack you have, no matter how many $1,000,000 you are investing in your organization on a yearly basis in cybersecurity tools, when I have this, that all becomes useless in that particular moment. So guys, this is a major danger. That's why I've mentioned 90% of this risk can go away if you actually do some things that we will talk about a bit further in the session, right? Okay, we now know what they can do with them. How do they actually get their hands on them? That's another question. So let's see, how does an attacker get their hands on your admin rights? First, they do credential exploitation. This is one of the main tactics. What do they need for this? They need your username and your domain. That's it, nothing else. And then finding out your password becomes just a hacking exercise for them, actually a morale boost for them. Then another item that they use is vulnerabilities and exploits. So there are exploits in software, in any other, even in IoTs, that they can leverage so that they can get admin rights and get the accounts that have been connecting to that particular machine. Misconfigurations, like having your root admin with no password or having your admin password with the admin password. So admin is the user, admin is the password. This is the lamest in the book that can happen, but it actually happens in a lot more cases than you guys could imagine. Next up, malware, spy bots, right? Spyware, keyloggers, right? All of that can extract the details and then leak the information to the attacker. Next up, social engineering, which is becoming more and more dangerous, because even again, if you invest a lot of money in your cybersecurity, sometimes the weakest link is the user at the end of the road. And it's not their fault because they're already busy doing their work, and having us want them to learn cybersecurity as well as we do as professionals is sometimes not possible. So we will train them in a minimum set, but then we need to help them spot social engineering schemes and know at least a list of things that they should never do, no matter who's asking them or how cute that person is. And last but not least, insider threat. So this is like social engineering, but nobody needs to engineer themselves in. It's actually a disgruntled employee or an employee that just got with your company so that they then can sell the access further and so on and so forth. But there's another one. And this has been actually on a huge rampant growth since a few years back. This other one is called, and I'm gonna put this on the screen right now, initial access brokers. What does that mean? Basically, I am an attacker. I got access to your environment in any way, shape, or form. And what I'm doing, because I don't want to hack you, I just want to make some money. I am going online on the dark web, of course, and I am posting a message such as this. Let's read the message. So this is an organization. It's called the Geo Republic of Mauritius. The revenue of this organization is 300,000 million or 300 million, something like that, right? K stands for 3 zeros, another 3 zeros. So this is 300 million, right? Then this is a telecommunication company that is kind of the lead in that space. The AV is semantic and the attacker already can disable it for you. Details will be given in person, right? And they are giving domain admin rights. So in this moment, for a small fee of $3,000 or flash sale, you get it immediately for $5,000. This huge company that I believe they invested a lot of money in growing their company and in making their cybersecurity proper, this huge company can be compromised because somebody wants to make $5,000. And then a ransomware family, a ransomware cybercrime family, will then extort this particular organization for a few $1 million, right? And this is how it goes in today's world, and this is a huge problem. We've been talking about initial access brokers for a while now, and again, if you guys want to talk some more, you have in the post-webinar feedback form a button that says, let's talk some more, and the options are book a demo or book a 15 minutes meeting with me. Okay, no more promoting the post-webinar feedback form. Let's move further and talk some more about the topic at hand. So let's play a small game. And the people in the audience that said, yes, I want to win that license, this is the moment. So guys, eyes to the screen, quit your other screens, your alt tab and stuff like that, and let's look at the screen for a few seconds. So this game is like Jeopardy, right? I will give you guys a scenario and I will give you 4 response options, and you guys need to guess which is the correct one. Now, for this first example, the first person that guesses the correct one will win the license. So the case goes like this. In 2013, an organization suffered a data breach. They did not disclose how many records were compromised, but what we know is that the information that was leaked was composed of personal identifying information and financial information, right? So the options of response are Nordea Bank from Sweden, Yahoo from USA, then we have HSBC from the United Kingdom, and last but not least, we have Danske Bank from Denmark. So guys, in the chat, A, B, C, or D, let's see. Okay, we have people voting for B, people voting for C, B again. Okay, let's see what are, okay, we have somebody saying D. So the winner is Danske Bank in this particular case. So the first person that responded D will win the license. He is a regular here. You guys know the process. I'll give you these licenses in maximum 24 hours from this particular moment. So by the way, guys, I'm talking about data breaches that happen due to compromised admin rights. Just that in this example. The next option that we have, right? Let's have some fun. In this particular scenario, in 2018, a mage cart attack. This is the moment that you guys Google the famous mage cart attack from 2018, led to a 2-week famous data breach in which 500,000 customers got their personal and full credit card data, including the purchasing code, the CVV, right? The one that's the most dangerous, which you should never disclose, compromised. This organization was fined with $26 million. Don't get the dollars messing up the response. I just translated this into dollars so that you don't know the local currency of this country. Moreover, this particular company needed to pay and compensate all the affected customers for any financial losses, including all the fraudulent transactions that happened after. So the options are Equifax. Next option is Deutsche Bank. Next option is British Airways. And the last option is JP Morgan. And yes, we have British Airways. Everybody responded to this one. Everybody that responded British Airways will win the license because everybody just jumped on British Airways immediately. So on this one, we will give out a few more. Next one is another famous one. Let's see if you guys guess this one. So in this particular scenario, in 2003, a company got breached multiple times across 2003 and 2013, I apologize, and 2014. And they have postponed publicly disclosing this to their customers and to the wide world until 2016. In this series of data breaches, over 3 billion user accounts were compromised, making this one of the most notorious data breaches in the known history. The options are you guys ready? Equifax, Yahoo, then we have Marriott International, and last but not least, we have TikTok. Let's see, what are your responses? Okay, we have a lot of people voting in. Let me see. Yahoo is the winner. Yes, guys. Yes, guys. So again, people that responded Yahoo will win the license. Thank you. All of you guys that responded Yahoo will win the license. But the next one, just the first person that responds. You guys were lucky with this one. I had technical glitch with the chat. It was not loading, so I couldn't see your responses. And all of a sudden, Yahoo everywhere. So guys, last but not least, this is one that makes you wonder, actually makes you reflect upon how important security is. In 2014, an organization suffered a major data breach, which was discovered 1 year later, and it resulted in the compromise of sensitive personal information of approximately 22 million current and former federal employees, including highly sensitive data such as social security numbers, fingerprints, and security clearance details. So the options are Equifax, then Yahoo, then we have the US Office of Personnel Management, and then we have US Department of Defense. And people already voted in version C, which is US US Office of Personnel Management. Guys, so basically in this particular data breach, they literally risked the lives of all those federal employees, right? Because you had some very, very tricky details that I believe the mafia would pay a lot of money for those. But again, we're not in the mafia, we're not in the national security. So we're just using this as an example. Now, because I know that a lot of you will still want to win the license, I have one final question. This is the regular cyber trivia that we're doing, right? In this one, I have a question, an answer, and I will give you the source. Let me drink a sip of water before. I need to be very attentive to the chat because you guys are booming the chat whenever the response comes in. So, what % of data breaches actually happen due to compromised admin credentials? And you need to guess, this is in percentage. So I'll just give you guys 20 seconds, and the person that is closest or that figures it out will win. So we have the first response, Brian, coming in with 80%. Brian, you are right. It's 80 to 81%. And this comes from two sources. I apologize, things got excited and my throat is failing me a bit. It's coming from Verizon and IDX. Both of them did extensive research. And 80 to 81% was the number that they both got to. So guys, admin rights, make sure you have a way of controlling that in a proper and healthy way. And we're gonna talk about what is that actually about. So when we look at an organization and you see the scale here, in an ideal situation, we have security and business flexibility in a balance. This balance is never the same for two companies. Each company has a different way of balancing overall security with flexibility, right? It's very important. This is not a one-size-fits-all for all companies. So if we are to put a heavy security, our operational flexibility will be very low. And this is something that we cannot do because, again, the business has the purpose to do business, right? It's not just the purpose to secure your business. We're securing the business so that the business can function, operate, and do its purpose, right? And provide the valuable service, get the money for that, and move forward. But sometimes security is becoming a bit of a problem in this space. Now, if we do the reverse? If we have high flexibility in operations, we have low security. Is that something that we can actually go with? Unfortunately, no, it's not. So let's actually see what would be the flexibility part that they need with admin rights, and let's see what do we as security people do in regards to this. So why would they need admin rights in the first place? There are a few things on the list. First thing is they need to install applications, right? Second, they need to run certain applications in admin mode for updates or for functionality. Third, they might need to access admin level processes or services. For example, mapping a network drive, changing the network details settings, right? Or enabling a new Wi-Fi. The list goes on, right? And if they need to properly operate on a daily basis, they might come across these things. So what are our options as security professionals, right? Option A is the easiest option out there. Give people admin rights. Is that a doable option? Is that something healthy that we can do? Put in the chat, yes or no, please. Let me know, professionals. No, exactly, with a lot of no's. We do not give people admin rights. But what do? Second option, and this is heavy for the MSPs and the people that are doing the regular day-to-day IT operations. Would you have IT remote in every time it's needed? No, and why not? Why not, right? Because IT is a scarce resource and it's time consuming. Thank you, Kwok. And I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I don't have a lot of experience with Chinese names, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But usually when you are presented two options and you have to choose and none of it is good, what do? Do you choose one of them? I, for example, do not choose one of them. I go for a third option, and if it's none, I create one, right? Because again, we don't need to follow what other people are doing. We need to find what works for us. So the solution with something like this, and Kare said it perfectly in the chat, is something called just-in-time admin rights. This is the phenomenon that the market calls it right now. And in Heimdal's example, it's called privilege elevation and delegation management. So guys, let's take 2-3 minutes and see how would this work, right? So I'll go back to my virtual machine, right? I'll put down the hacking stuff. And now let's do some defense stuff, right? So if I am right now to try to install this application, and again, let me stop my camera so that you guys can see the full screen, right? Let's have fun. This particular application needs my admin rights to go further, right? So if I am to double click and try to install this, the regular thing that will happen, and I believe it's loading a bit slow. Okay, I might try another application, but let's give the virtual machine a few moments. I don't want it to crash in the middle of our demonstration. I'll just give it a few moments here. Okay, so this is what happens. I hope that you guys can see this user account control window that I'm moving on the page. So now the admin, either the user has a local admin account or the IT personnel comes in, remotes in and puts the password, right? Which we have seen both options don't work. A hacker can take advantage of that. So what do, right? There are tools in the marketplace, Heimdal being one of them, that have something called this privilege application and elevation and delegation management. So what you can do is either right click on an application and request admin privileges for this application, put in the reason, right? Webinar, this is my reason. Okay, I elevate, and this has been sent as a request to my IT personnel. My IT personnel gets this as a notification on their phone. So instead of them needing to find the ticket in the system, remote into my computer and do it for me, they just press a button in the management console. And in this moment, I will get the access as elevated to install this. So nobody logs into my computer and puts in a password. Very important. That is not logged in the memory. So even if somebody goes and tries again to get the dump, to then harvest my dump, they have nothing to harvest because there was no password inserted. The other option, which is a bit riskier, but sometimes it's needed, I could request full administrator level temporarily to this computer. And when I do this again can happen on an approval flow. This can happen automatically. The settings are so complex, but if you want to see that, you would need to book a demo, right? So right now I am in full administrator mode. So now I can just double click on an application, just put my regular password, which I'm just moving to my test user and putting my regular password, which normally is not an admin, but now since I am using this tool, this allows me to elevate with admin. This is used for more complex items, not for the just one-off install. We would never recommend that, but for some heavy situations, this can go up to, I don't know, 2-10 hours of administrator for heavy machinery and so on and so forth. Now I can also elevate via token and so on. I can also revoke my elevation. But I want you guys to see something very interesting now. I am in administrator mode. Let's say I am either a malicious actor doing this because I saw that my colleagues have this and I can now deploy an attack. And I try to bring a virus to the computer. And this is something interesting. So I'll just take a virus and I will copy it to the screen. And now I want to deploy it, right? What happened? I didn't even have the chance to open the virus. The antivirus found the virus. It told the privilege elevation and delegation management tool immediately disable that superpower admin from the computer because there's a virus there. So guys, even if an insider tries to mess up things, we will not let them do that, because again, this is a very robust cybersecurity tool stack, or EPP, endpoint protection platform, and it having this capacity to integrate multiple layers. In this moment, it has the power to actually communicate in between the two of them. So this was just a short demo how you could do that. You can also use two tools of the Heimdal stack: PDM, Privilege Elevation Delegation Management, and Application Control. And for some applications that you know people will need constant admin rights, they don't need to request it all time, because that means wasted time on their end, and also on the other side is also wasted time on the IT side to approve each time. Even if it's just little time, it matters, guys. So what you can do, you can make auto elevation rules. So in this case, I am no longer admin because I had the virus, right? You guys saw. I just double click this, which is already configured to be accepted as administrator. And here's what happened. Because my IT team went before this and already approved this application for me. So this is how simple it can get if you actually need admin rights in your organization. And now I have a question for the audience, and I will launch this question in a form of a poll. I also see some questions coming up in the chat, guys. Well, I'll get to those. So my first question for you guys, you should see it on the screen, is: does your organization need admin rights to operate? The options are: yes, we cannot perform without, just some select people, and no, only IT has admin rights in my organization. Okay, nice. I'll just give this 6 more seconds, just 30 seconds in total, because I don't want to keep everybody blocked. I want to give you guys a lot of time for the Q&A. So stopping the voting. As expected, guys, I'm sharing this with you so that everybody can see the results. The majority of people have just, the majority of companies or organizations have just select people that need admin rights. But guys, you saw what happens even with select people. They can be harvested from all the computers that they log into. Those select people might be what? IT, development teams, people that are working with heavy hardware like packaging, manufacturing, and so on. But there are also some companies that just do that, like development. No developer can work if they don't have admin rights, and that's what's in the category of 12% of the responders from today. They cannot perform their daily activities without admin rights, right? And even in the second category, the 23% category, no, nobody aside IT has admin rights. You guys saw what IT coming to your computer and logging their admin rights can do, right? And you saw that attackers don't even need to put the effort to crack the password anymore. And by the way, guys, I forgot to share back my camera. Why didn't you guys tell me? Now let's hide the poll and let's continue with the few slides that we still have left. And these are conclusion slides, right? So what are the conclusions from today's session, guys? First one is avoid as much as you can. No matter what you need to do, avoid giving local admin rights. Why? And let's talk about why. If you guys have some ideas in why you should avoid this, just put them in the chat, but I'll tell you mine. Local admin rights are uncontrolled, unaudited, and they can do whatever they want on that computer. Nobody has a way of logging local admin rights if they are created just from Windows directly. So that's a big danger. Do not give them admin rights in any circumstance possible. Second conclusion from today's session is avoid logging your domain admins on computers if you have another option to go around it. Because again, I know I'm repeating myself, guys, but it's important. You saw how easy it is for me to just go in a computer and find all the logins that have took place in that computer. And I will find your domain admin rights if I do that. I have another question coming in from Matt, which I will take in the Q&A. Okay, if required, use a secured tool to do these elevations, a just-in-time admin rights tool, because that will eliminate all the risk that is carried with these situations. And if not, you at least have an audit trail and control. You saw what happens when I put a virus on that. Automate the process as much as possible, because even if you have a tool and you click a button and you approve for people, it's still time that you log into a place, right? The console, even if it's on your phone. With Heimdal, you can do it from your phone, but even that takes some time. You need to put in your two-factor authenticator, because this is not something to be taken easily and lightly. It's something dangerous and very important. You cannot just press a button and do it. You need to put your two-factor code before you approve anybody. And that's what? 2 minutes blocked from your time? Why not automate that if you know they will need it? And last but not least, guys, ensure that for any administrator session, you have a full audit of what has happened in that session. You need to be able to go back, and going back allows you to see what happened and where did the situation get compromised in the first place. And now I also have another form of a conclusion, which is a phrase, right? There must always be a balance in between operational flexibility and security. Balance that is never the same for two organizations. It's our mission as IT professionals, right? We see CISOs, CIOs in the audience. We see MSPs. We see virtual CISOs, which are CISOs for hire, right? I see sysadmins that I know in the chat. I see even CEOs in the chat, which is super fine to see CEOs in a technical webinar like this. So guys, you know there's no such thing as two organizations need the same thing. Each organization will have at least a 1% difference in what that balance between flexibility and security, operational flexibility and operational security is like. And our mission as professionals is to identify the needs, the required controls, and then knowing the needs of the business, knowing the required controls to stay safe, we will balance them. And this is a never-ending job that we do, because the business changes, the needs change, business units are added, and guess what? We need to then come in and see what are the needs, what are the controls to be safe, how do we balance this? It's a never-ending job. That's why cybersecurity is so fun and attractive for everybody. And now, having this conclusion on the page, let's see what were those questions from the chat that I need to respond to. And also, guys, now is the time. Put all your questions forward. I'll start with the ones that came in. So the question that comes to mind is, how well protected is Heimdal against Terminator? Guys, Terminator, Torben, very good question. Thank you for that. I owe you a coffee or a beer, depending on what you prefer. So guys, the Terminator is that malware that we looked at earlier, right? How well protected is Heimdal? So let's make an exercise. Have a remote machine, guys, that have Heimdal, including Torben, right? And try to kill all the Heimdal processes, all of them, and see what happens. Now, with Heimdal, our CTO is quite a whiz. I'm not saying that Heimdal is impossible to crack. With anti-authority system user, guys, if anybody promises you that it's impossible to crack, they are lying. Run away. Because with anti-authority system user, you can, if you're smart, you can bypass anything. That's why admin rights are the most dangerous thing. Again, going to the reason why I made this webinar for you guys. But if you try to disable all Heimdal services, you will see something that you remember from your childhood called the blue screen of death. Because I don't want to say this publicly, but we have a protection there, right? And if you don't do that, it will go in total computer failure until the services are back up, meaning that the attackers cannot finalize their attack. Again, I have not tested Terminator versus Heimdal, but in theory, this is what will happen. But again, why would you give them admin rights to open Terminator? And you should not, right? You guys saw this is very dangerous. I'm not joking, leaving the jokes and the laughter aside. Terminator is actually a very powerful thing. It works at the kernel level. Again, if you guys want to geek out with me, let's just put a 15-minute session and spar some ideas on Terminator. But I would say Terminator cannot disable Heimdal. This is just my personal opinion. When I get my hands on Terminator, I'll play with it on a virtual machine, but I don't want to pay $3,000 for it. So if anybody has a GitHub link to it or Malware Bazaar link to it, share it with me. Okay, Torben, I hope this answered your question. Let's see, Matt saying it's dangerous. Even giving local admin rights temporarily has the risk of forgetting to remove them. We use a GPO to remove local admin rights from all the machines. Matt, this is golden. I have a question for you. You give admin rights to the people now, and with the GPO, you remove it. When? So you remove it with the GPO, right? The GPO runs every, let's say, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It's an automated check. But when is the admin right token disabled from the computer? Is it immediately? That's my question. And all other cybersecurity professionals, join me in the chat. If you disable via GPO, is it immediately disabled? Yes or no? And if no, when is it disabled? Come on, guys. Let's see. Okay, so Kari came in and said, no, it is disabled after the restart of the computer, and that is the problem, guys. So even with GPO, which was the regular solution that people were using in very slick IT teams, I've been using it when I started in IT. We were giving local admin rights, and then through GPO removing them once every 30 minutes. But it doesn't take effect until you restart the computer. Next, we have another one. We have somebody saying we had an issue with Heimdal on one of our devices and it was hard to remove before reinstalling. Of course, and that is made by design, Matt. Okay, so Torben saying, he'll remember the beer. Torben, I was joking, but now I will need to give you the beer, right? If you visit us, or in September, I will visit Copenhagen. So let's meet up and do that. Okay, so other questions, Let's see, anybody else? Ooh, interesting question. Does the just-in-time admin rights solution work with Active Directory or without Active Directory? This is a good question, guys. I cannot say for all the just-in-time solutions out there, because of course I will need to review them to give you a proper answer, right? But I know that the Heimdal license can work for you with admin, with Active Directory, or without Active Directory. This can actually do the Active Directory job, so to say, for you. Of course, having Active Directory brings you some benefits. You can limit who can do the elevations, right? Maybe say only people that are allowed in the admin group can request an elevation, and only people that are logged into the computer and are a part of that group can do that. You can do a lot of things if you have AD, right? But it's okay. Brian says he needs to leave, a meeting in 2 minutes. No worry, Brian, we will finish on time. Thank you for joining us. So guys, any other questions, send them on email. Don't forget the post-webinar feedback form, so important for me. I can make these sessions better and better for you, and you can book a meeting with me or with our sales team for a full demo. And next webinar, which you will get in an email pretty soon after this session, is software visibility and vulnerability controls. 5 must-have steps in place so that you don't have the risk that comes with software in your environment. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you spending 1 hour with me. It's always super fun to do this. The winners, you will get your license certificates in maximum 24 hours. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.